And I believe we're live, or I'm live. Uh, yeah, sorta. Got to put this across, kind of cover some stuff up. Oh, got anybody in here? No, we don't. Hmm. Welcome, John. I'm guessing you can hear me. Well, that's a good thing. Something's working. I did a reminder video earlier, but maybe it wasn't early enough. I don't know. We'll see. See if we get any more people in here, and see if I can pull turn that off. See if I can pull the chat up on my phone so I can. The plumber. Welcome, Steve. Oh, turn that down again. Okay. We can put this one big screen, maybe. Just figure out what I'm doing. Says we have 4 in here. I don't know. Dave BNSF in scale. Welcome, Dave. Saying hi to Rodney, John, and Plumber. I'm putting the tin roof on my tree house. Got a tree house. Putting putting plumbing in there too. It only takes one pipe for the drain anyway. I need to be looking at this camera. That's the camera I'm supposed to be looking at. I'm so used to looking over here at my big screen because of the other camera down here when I switch them. So, well, we have 4 of you watching, but only 3 of you is in here. Huh, busy making more messes for me to clean up. Hmm, okay. Yeah, we all have those days. Make messes and have to clean them up. I gotta get. Mm, hairs all over my eyeballs. So we'll wait a couple more minutes. See if we get any more people in here. And you can see my my message banner down on the lower part of the screen has been updated um, on the end with my Patreon account link and my PayPal link, which is coming across the screen right now. So if you want to donate anything to my PayPal for some reason, or join my Patreon page and help me out on the channel that way, it's greatly appreciated. If you can't, well, that's that's okay too. I know it ain't the best time in this messed up world we live in, but that's so. Looks like we got John, Steve, and Dave, and somebody's the fourth one. Oh, me. Yeah, it would be me. I put it on my phone. So, yeah, the fourth one would be me, which is lagging because it's YouTube. Because I just watched myself repeat myself. Uh, you got anything new, Rodney? Well, yeah, what I was going to show everybody tonight is let me um let me do this first. I will go over here and change cameras to the desk and aka workbench when I'm live. Um, what I have tonight is just an old switch. I seen this on YouTube after I came up with this idea myself. I don't know if I'm the first one or if I'm the second or third or 20th one. It doesn't really matter. But to do what I'm going to do, all we need is a pair of needle nose, an Atlas switch, or something near it. You know, another brand will work. For Pico guys, for you guys that use Pico and all that, Pico is already set up to do what I'm going to make these modified to do. So they already have the springs in them, but I'm going to show you how, and I'm going to use this old ruler right here, the back of it, to do this. Okay, that fits that, which is good. What you want to do, and this is what I went by on YouTube. I don't know if you can see that. There's a hole right here where your throw bar is. Okay, you want to go back to your next tie. Have your throw bar right in the middle, so it's not, either way. It's not touching either rail. And you want to drill yourself a hole right in the middle of the next tie. Hey, Wigwag, welcome. We'll take and drill ourselves a hole with our pin vise, or our mini drill, as I always called it. And you have, well, thought I had. It's there, but it's kind of, I believe it's kind of crooked, but that's okay too. It'll work. For an old switch, which you can tell it's been on the layout before, it's still got some crust looking ballast and stuff on it. But anyway, and we've got Anfield Road layout in the loft. Welcome. But anyway, you drill yourself the little hole right down below your throw bar, and that right in the middle, you eye it up right in the middle, go down your right to the next tie, just like that, and you'll take paper clip, just like this. You'll take the longer side, your outside of it, or you can well, you only really have to cut one side of this, so snip it right there. In other words, what I'm talking about, the outside is your longer part on the paper clip, your longer circle. Take and cut the other side, and you'll take, and I already have this made up. I made this up right before I went live. That's probably the reason I was a minute or two late. But you take your needle nose, or whatever you want to use, take and bend it at a 90, just like that. Or in this case, it would be a 45. I'm sorry. Yeah, a 90. I'm right. A 90 to make it look like an L. Okay. You'll take your longer stub, and this is how the guy on the YouTube channel did it. So I'm doing it his way, because my way might not be, that great. I don't know. But we're going to try this and see if it actually does work. You'll take and slide it. If Okay, you'll slide it, and then you'll take and put your short part in your hole of your um, rail tie or your sleeper, or not sleeper, but your, yeah, I think they call them sleepers out in across the river in places. But well, Rodney is not having success with this for some reason. Maybe Rodney's hands are too big. I don't know. But anyway, could be okay. There we go. The hole might have not have been quite where it's supposed to be. But and I will probably use or do a video of this actually working too, for whoever is not um, present in my um, live stream. But I don't. You probably ain't going to hear this, but you now have a sprung switch that will stay where it's supposed to. All you have to do is remember to, after you do all this, come in with a pair of clippers and clip your excess paper clip off right here. The guy on the video um, left them long because of putting it up in the hole, into the two holes. So all you have to do is come back and clip them off below, however short you want them to be. And actually, I did not do something correctly. I believe he might have took the needle nose and bent one of these um, backwards, gave it a little bend, something like that. It doesn't have to be a real big bend. What it's going to do, it's going to keep it in the hole. Okay, so how you want to know, or you're wondering, Rodney, how are you going to put this on the layout if you have cork road bed or um, of course, plywood, you might not be able to do too good, or unless you want to chisel out a spot. But road bed, foam road bed, um, foam, um, Homosote, and that kind of stuff, you will have to go where your switch is, because what this is doing, it's making it rock because you now have that paper clip on the bottom. But you slice a little hole in your foam, road bed, Homosote, whatever you're using for your underlayment, um, for your scenery and different stuff under your track. And you'll have to put a hole in there. For now, I will just demonstrate like this. So all you have to do is take your switch and switch it like that. Or, if you don't want to show your hands, then you might even be able to get away with doing one of these numbers, with a skir stick or something, just to keep your hands off your switch and that kind of stuff. Because if you have big sausage fingers like me, well, this stuff's going to eventually break. But anyway, for me, being that I haven't decided to use cork roadbed or anything like that, um, I may have to chisel or something in my plywood because I like noise. I like my trains to make noise. That's just the way I was brought up. I may put some cork road bed down, but somewhere where I'm going to film the track, there may be cork road bed. Other than that, it may be just um, some kind of just plywood. Because like I said, that was the way I always knew to do it. I mean I can put foam down, but the problem is with my layout, it's one of those old layouts that you climb up on and walk around on, and with foam and that kind of stuff, it's going to make marks in the foam and the home soap. So, um, but anyway, there you have it. That is simple and cheap and easy to do. And it'll work for DCC guys if you don't, if you don't want to put caboose ground froze in and have that, to do. Um, cut a little hole in your foam, make up a paper clip, just like I did, and put it in your Atlas switches or whatever switches. I mean, like I said, the Picos is already set up with the little spring mechanism, and this is basically what this is doing. This is making that little spring mechanism for Atlas switches or um, any switches that have the plastic piece. Um, and what I'm talking about is your throw bar, right? Let me see if I can get the pointer right there that connects your rails. If you don't have that, then obviously you're not going to, if you don't have one with a hole right there anywhere to drill one, then obviously you ain't going to be able to do this idea. So, like I said, I I seen it on YouTube after I came up with the idea myself. So, I don't know if I'm the first one or the second one or the 25th one, for all I know. I mean, but I thought I'd share this with you, especially if, beginners that might just be starting out and just want an oval with, a couple yard tracks. Well, they don't necessarily have to have the switch machines. Now, me personally, in my yard, I want to have my stuff electrified because I collected all all kinds of Acme switch controls, and I hate to have them just set around, and I don't want to get rid of them because they're not always easy to find. eBay always has them. Once in a while, somebody will be selling a bunch of them or something. But in this case, I really just rather switch a switch or a button and have something throw for me if I don't want to reach down, onto the layout because my layout's only 2 foot high. And instead of bending over and reaching and, switching stuff because I'm not up to date like, you DCC guys and some upscale DC guys are in bench work, I figured I'd just make mine electric because I have fun wiring all that. I mean, it's not that hard. It's easy, but but this I just thought was neat with a paper clip and a switch and a couple holes or a hole drilled in the next tie right next to your throw bar. And like I said, if you have a plain blank throw bar piece of plastic right there, you can drill a hole through it. Just be careful that you don't snap it in half. But you can drill a hole in them, just like I did this tie right here. But it has to be the next tie to your throw bar to make it, enough spring. You don't want to bring it back here where you would put your your tie down spike right here, because it's going to spread that paper clip open, and you might not get that, that spring, or that spring effect. But I mean, that's pretty neat. I mean, it's actually clicking. I'm hearing it click. I wish you guys could hear it click too, but um I don't know if I can get it up to the microphone. I don't know if you all could hear that or not. Well, it just fell. It fell apart. But like I said, I mean, all it is this right here, paperclip. For you all that just joined, welcome, Cal Stevens, and say hi to you. Um, all it is a regular paperclip. You take and cut your outside part right here. Leave one longer, one shorter. Bend it at a 90, just like that. One short, one short, the other one longer. Trim them down after you get them up through here. And I'm not sure. I'm I'm kind of thinking that the long one actually goes up through your tie. It probably, yeah, the long one goes up through your throw bar, and your shorter one will go through your tie. And I'm trying to put this back together because I was holding it up and I did not have my hand underneath of the piece of paper clip, and it fell apart on me. Okay. So anyway, and that's not, but I thought that was just the neatest thing. If we could photo this a long time ago, before caboose um, industries and all that would came out with the actual ground throw, or you know a somebody making up a rod with a knob or a piece of wire. I mean, and this is basically almost like the piece of wire. I mean, it's not going to work if you can't reach it, obviously. But I mean, if you think about it, you could just wrap a piece of wire or whatever right around the loop of your paper clip and run the wire through a tube or whatever, and um, it would work basically the same way, and it might cut down some of what you might have to do. I mean, that's for, if it's close or in reasonable distance to put a ground throw in on the edge of your layout. And for some reason, I'm not getting this back in that little hole that I drilled. Okay. Take care of that. But yeah, I just thought that was the neatest thing. And I mean, I thought of the same techno techno idea, and then I just was running through YouTube last night and found that somebody else had came up with the idea. And like I said, if you use foam or whatever for your um underneath of your track, you're going to have to put a hole in it to make the paperclip move. Now, I guess if you really wanted to go through it, if you could straighten the paperclip out straight enough, um, just on two sides, and you want it to try to go up through your ground foam or whatever, long as it wasn't real thick, you could put this underneath, put it um figure out how to fasten it so it wouldn't drop down, or even put a little CA on your um tie or something to keep it there. But you make this part longer, this loop right here, just make your paper clip longer, and you'll be able to do the same thing. And you can see it right there. I think it's on camera. You can see it working back and forth. So you'd have to have a little bit of a slot cut out to actually make that work. So, like I said, because I'm using plywood, it's going to be a little hard for me to do this. But I thought that I would share it with you guys, especially guys like Ray Boble, who has trouble putting, or having um the actual switch machines in his yard, and having to space them is what I'm trying to say. And he could take his switch machines off, make cut a little hole or slot in his foam, and actually switch them by the rails. And again, if you didn't want to put your big hand in your video, you could just take a skir stick or something and snap it over. But I mean, it's got the spring effect just by me moving it, and there. Okay, it fell back out of the hole, but okay, there we go. I'm trying to hold this, and it's my big fingers are not letting this work. But yeah, I mean, you get the same exact snapping sound as you do with a Pico that already has that little spring in it, that little spring effect. So I mean, this is just the neatest thing that I ever came up with. And then knowing that somebody else, um, you know, somebody else came up with it also and did a video of it. Um, I just think this is the neatest thing for something for us modelers that might not want a big motor sticking on top of their layout that comes with this turnout. So, but I mean, there it is, guys. That's a simple, low cost. Didn't cost me nothing. Just paper clip and cutting it with a pair of needle nose snippers or pair of side cutters, whatever you want to cut it with. Little micro drill, or in this case, aka pin vise. I call it a little micro drill because, or little micro hand drill, all the same thing. Pin vise. Pin vise is the normal name, but I mean it makes the sound just like a Pico switch would for you Pico guys. So let me switch back since we have almost less than a half hour to, and I'll show you my mug. See if I can, and Mike, Mark Huffman says, "Hi, Hot Rod. It's your backup race driver for Hagerstown." Yeah, I don't know when that's going to happen, Mark. I've I'll probably find out sometime after next week or starting Monday. I got to go in uh for kidney stones Monday, so I haven't been able to do much. I can only do what I can, and before I end up striking a pain. So, oh, okay. Everybody's leaving me. Yeah, I do too, Mark. I really wanted to try to come this weekend, but I know it's not going to be a good idea. As for the following week, that may not happen either. I'm broke for one thing. Um, that's, you know, partially my fault, but I mean the car basically can be ran like it is. I'd really like to have money to update some stuff, but however, I do believe got better brakes now. They needed adjusted. So if you're listening, Mark, that's what was wrong with the brakes last year. They didn't have enough adjustment. We need brakes on the front wheels. Should have brakes on the front. They should be working. Yeah, it was the rear brakes that we didn't have. I felt the front ones working when I drove it. That's what was slowing me down that night into the turns. I was barely slowing down, but I had enough. If I personally, I know when I have enough brakes. Um, I mean, I drive the car all the time, so if I felt like I didn't have enough, then obviously I wouldn't be out there. The shifter handle? Yeah, it just needs sprayed. It needs sprayed down with WD-40. It needs soaked. As for the handle on it, well, that thing might just that thing might get um caulked on or something. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. A lot of what's hurting me in the car though is I've got a fantastic fast motor. It's just the automatic transmission is not doing what it's supposed to be doing because it's a fast motor. You almost need a 3 speed, and you know, I really don't want to go to a 3 speed, but I got an idea that's what it's gonna come to wake the car and the rear end and everything up more. So I mean, I was told to go to the old Winchester 373 gear. So that rear end's in it as of last year. That's what we was running. The 342s obviously wasn't wasn't helping. We need to change the rear. That's what's in it. Crazy Kenny's rear. But his rear end, his for no wait, yeah. It's his Winchester rear end, so it's only a limit slip or something like that, but I think it's it's a I don't know if that one's a posi traction or what, but I want to I want to change I want to change the my other 373 rear from a posi track to a mini spool because the posi track I think is I mean they're okay, but if they're not welded, they're I mean being welded it makes it a little bit better, but a posi track or a mini spool, I'm sorry, a mini spool, um, I know how that operates, at least down Winchester. That is in a rear end that is two 73s, I believe. Now that's a stock gear or 342. I'm sorry, it's a 342 stock gear. I want to get um, Homer to try to change those gears around for me because I don't really know much about putting gears in and out. But I want to switch the mini spool from that 242 rear over to um, my other 373 rear. That way I can run Hagerstown. Well, that's a 9-inch rear. That's why he has a 9-inch. I'm pretty sure a 513 would be a 9-inch Ford. See, I've got a GM 7.5 or 7.5, whatever way you want to call it. So I'm still running the GM stuff. I have nothing against the 9-inch. It's just I don't own one. So, I mean, if we could run quick changes, we'd really have money in it, but um you just buy the quick change from one of your modified or late model guys that want to get rid of them and get a new one as an eight. Uh, that one, does that one have will that fit my Monte Carlo though? A 77 Malibu rear end to uh 80, 85, 86 Monte. Yes, but you have to offset wheels. Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I should do, and I really like to do, but some of it I can't do because I just don't have the right. I just thought it was a heavier uh, because it was a heavier car, it was probably a heavier rear end for those years, but if it's an 8.5, I may be able to come up with something because I'm thinking that. See, I'm not sure. One of those Malibus had the Winchester rear in it, and the other one had a Hagerstown gear in it. And I'm not sure which one the 77 has in it. I'm kind of thinking that it is the Winchester one. I could be wrong on that. Yeah, I know. I thought of that too. I thought of that too. It's just right now with kidney stone pain and everything, I don't even want to attempt to try to, you know, load the car and plus I've got to get my truck registration renewed because of the um emission thing. It got suspended and I didn't know about it until last year when the paper came. Well, this is nice. Get mail in the mailbox from DMV and find out that you've been running around with a suspended registration. Yeah, so no, everything always happens. Uh, you're right, never a dull moment. Everything's just it's happening for a reason and all at once. So hopefully, we might be able to do that. You become the driver for a while, and then I want to at least run like the Eric Johnson race, and a few other bigger races Because I'm not really up there running for points as much as I used to be. I mean, maybe start next year or something, I can go into that, but um, I just need to rest and I need to focus on doing other stuff plus, you know, doing stuff on the car and that kind of those kind of issues. So 7:52. I'm not sure. We evidently got still got six of you in here. We kind of went off track talking about race cars, but that's okay. My channel involves racing and model railroading, so it sort of goes with the channel. And hopefully I'll have more. Okay, Mark, I'll keep in touch with you, buddy. There for a while, I don't know why we wasn't friends on Facebook anymore. Facebook must have cleaned my profile or something for me. I'm finding all kinds of people not even friends with me no more. So of course I haven't been on Facebook for a while. So yeah. Do I have any Holly four barrels? No, I don't. We're not allowed a four barrel unless we're running a crate motor. So we can only have two barrel Hollies or two barrel Rochesters or whatever we're running. So, but thanks for asking. I would have kept you in mind. Yeah, we're restricted to a two barrel or less we run a crate. Crate 602, I believe it is, for our crate motor. I believe is allowed the Holley four barrel. I think we're up to a four or a 650 or something we're allowed. I think the rules say that to down to whatever the because I know there's a 604 late model, 602 late model or limit, whichever you want to consider it. Um, but there's also 602 modified, 604 modifieds. Whatever runs a crate is either a 602, 604, or um, something like that. So they're just allowed to run with the limited sportsman or limited late models also. And pure stocks also have that. Our us as pure stocks have that rule. Plus, Simulates, which is the old pure stocks, has that rule also. A 602. It can't be a 604. A 604, I guess, could be for you know, um, your bigger divisions, but smaller ones are usually 602s with a certain number marked. So you you hear that calling hobby stock a pure stock now? Yes. Yep. I'll never get used to that. I'll still be waiting for him to say hobby stocks, and I'll be even though I've ran my hobby stock with the pure stocks before. Now I'm going to be running a hobby stock, which is a considered a pure stock with the simulates if I want to go, you know, into their division and run a bigger event or something. Now that has crossed my mind running with the simulates one or two times this year. And the reason I was going to do that is if Hunt the Front would bring their late model team up here for the Lucas Oil Show. Our simulates are on that night. And I told Joseph Joyner by text message, if he comes up here and races, I will put my car, my pure stock, in the simulates that night just to be on race on the same track as him that night. And that to me would just be awesome if I could get parked beside them or go meet them and hang out with them. Even if I don't take the car, I'm going to the pit area if he tells me that they're coming up here because they had the idea of yeah, I don't know if Jesse would bring his car too or not because the original plan they wanted to go. They always was talking about going up to Port Royal and running. Well, that's where the idea of Hagerstown came from me to him. And I said, you can run Hagerstown the night before and then go to Port Royal the next night, and you can make a big weekend vacation out of it because you go to different places and camp anyway, with your toter and everything now. I said, yeah, it would be a long distance, but if you made it to Eldora for 2 nights last year, up here shouldn't be no different because that's in Ohio. This is in Hagerstown. That's up in Port Royal, Pennsylvania, or is it Marquisburg or something? That's up. One of them speedways is in Marquisburg. Yes, and I told him if you're talking about going to Port Royal, come to Hagerstown Friday night before you go to Port Royal on Saturday. I said, and run here because you'll like this track. And who knows, they might come up here and actually win. I mean, they've ran half mile tracks before, even though they like the little bull ring 3/8 and all. But I said, and if Winchester or Bedford ran the same weekend, you could make one heck of a weekend out of it. If Lucas Oil was at those two tracks for some reason also. But, I mean, Winchester's not even on Speed Week, which is very, very sad, but that's, you know, yeah, yeah. especially if especially people like Cal Larson or somebody would possibly try to show up, which being a weekend, I doubt he would, but you don't know. I mean, you just don't know that. And see, I don't know if they would want to go to Georgetown or not, um, but I told him, if you're seriously thinking and talking about going to Port Royal, come to Hagerstown first. Make it make it a race weekend for you, and then travel back home after Port Royal, providing something don't come around at Hagerstown, which I I wouldn't wish that on anybody, but stuff happens. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen when you get out on the track. Um, it's a risk. It's a risk the crew and the driver takes. That's you know that's just something that should be automatically said in the racing world. It's a risk. You risk your life. You risk your time, your money to go a track, travel, and get into the track and put your car out on the racetrack with you in it, and you're you know hopefully nothing ever happens. So you never know. You never know. I mean, he showed up for big sprint car races before, and World Outlaws and everything before, and missed the NASCAR race. So, being it's pretty good money, I mean, you don't know. I mean, quite a quite a few people might show up. You never know. Um, as for right now, according to Hunt the Front schedule, it said something about Joseph and I don't know if it was Jonathan or Jesse was on the schedule for a big crate race down somewhere down Florida or Georgia or one of those places. So, they may choose to just stay around the areas down there and run crates. I don't know. That's just going by their schedule, what I've seen. But maybe they'll change their mind and just go ahead and travel up here. I don't know. Yes, yes, I remember that. Yes, the lovely neighbors of the track complained and all that because they was racing, and Cal showed up and made it worse, which to me, who knows if he's the one that made it worse. I mean, it could have been just because they wanted to race it, and they were supposed to be shut down and didn't listen. But that's that's over now because it's 2023, and here we are, 3 or 4 years later, hopefully with no problems of any of that crap anymore, shutting us down. But right, right, You're exactly right. Exactly. And they didn't want to leave. What I'm hearing, they actually had to push them out. Now, that's just what I heard. I don't know. They, I think, I realize it was for a good thing, and they gave them permission to do the good cause. But you know, uh, they they could have just kind of overdo did it and just went overboard, and they oh well, yeah, that could be a lot of the reason too. If they paid them, that's the reason they might have stayed. But they needed to be out by that next weekend because of, I think they was racing that next weekend, that weekend coming up. So that's why we have all them new picnic tables. Well, the way things are, the way things are in the world right now, and stuff getting so expensive, we may be putting wheels on them picnic tables and figuring out how to put a lawnmower motor on them and racing them around the track or around the parking lot. That may be the next form of racing that's a little cheaper. So I don't know. That's just yeah. Hagerstown used to be a big cornfield. So, you put the horses to dig up the fields back then. A lot of them fairground tracks started out as a horse track. That that's just amazing. It went from horses. It was always horse racing, and then you change it over, put clay on it, and make it a dirt track or a clay track. So, but I'll keep in touch with you, Mark. And I want to thank everybody else for showing up. If there's anybody still in here, there's three of us in here. One of them's me. One of them's Mark, and I'm not sure. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Will electric move the big thing, the big heavy thing? That's like driving a boat. I mean, wait till it rains. We can always float. Could run it in a boat race. I mean, it could handle probably a late model body. And put it in the crate late models till they figure out that it ain't actually the right chassis holding the body up. Just put a slope front end on the front, put a wing on the back. Oil electric way of future. Yep, all electric. I'm sorry, all electric. Yeah. Nah, I don't even want to go into all that. So All right, well, I'm going to get off of here because it's after 8 o'clock and I got to go eat. Yep. Try not to push that idea too quick though. I don't want to be running around in a little little bubble that is operated by electric. I will, buddy. I will stay in touch with you. Get this kidney problem over with. I'd really like to did it this weekend, but with the registration to the truck not good, so I'm not driving my truck out of here to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this down. Thanks to the 6 or 7 guys that showed up: John, Dave, uh, and you other guys, and Mark. I'll catch you later and keep in touch with you. Bye for now, guys.